Today's video is going to be sponsored and approved by Nintendo. I've always loved Nintendo so much growing up. It is a lot of my childhood. It is obviously at this point my career, so I want to thank them personally for sponsoring this video and reaching out to me for this project. I very much so appreciate it. You know, go check out their links and their cards and everything that I'm going to have in the description, all up above. Please go check them out. I would really appreciate it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has one of the most, if not the most, insane roster of any game ever. There are so many characters. There are so many personalities in those characters. There are so many playstyles. There is guaranteed to be a character for literally anyone trying to play this game. Seeing as most of my success as a competitor has come from Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, most of you know me as a Pikachu main, but my story of the character I love is not with Pikachu, it is with Samus, and I want to tell you guys my story and why I resonate with Samus so heavily. When I was really young, Super Metroid was my father's favorite game, and before I even had the strength and energy to pick up a controller, I would sit on my dad's back and watch him play Super Metroid for hours, over and over and over again. He played that game so many times. It was one of his favorite things to do. You know, video games were still relatively new then. It was the first home console we had, and he just loved playing that game. Almost got 100% every single time he played. And that was one of the ways that me and my father, you know, actually bonded when I was younger. I would sit on his back and watch him play video games, and I would get so excited. They would like sometimes put a controller in my hand and I would just like flail around, just be like, yay, oh my god, I'm playing this game. And unfortunately, obviously I wasn't, but he was playing it and it was still so much fun. So that's one of the reasons I honestly love the Metroid franchise, even from the very, very beginning. But now let's take it to some Smash Bros. My family never had a Nintendo Entertainment System growing up, so I only had access to the SNES, obviously, so the only game that I was able to play Samus in was Super Metroid, so I did play that game a decent amount, but you know, as a 4 or 5-year-old, it was pretty difficult. And unfortunately, as you know, there was no Metroid game for the N64, so when Super Smash Bros. Came out in 1999, that was my first taste of being able to play Samus outside of the one game I knew her, and I loved every single second of it. You know, being able to move in a way that I saw fit, and obviously in the moves of that game, but still I could do what I wanted with the character given the physics and all of her moveset, and it just felt so good to be able to control and able to manipulate this character that I have had such a strong connection with for pretty much my whole life, and now I could make it my own. At this point I only played casually, so I didn't know any of the technical stuff. I didn't know Z canceling or shield dropping or anything like that, so obviously I just kind of played around with my friends and I was kind of just the best kid on my block, and it was really, really fun to play both Samus, and I actually did play Pikachu because of one time that I, you know, was able to beat very hard mode with one life, and I felt very proud of that. Fortunately for me, my brother is also very big into video games, and so I was able to play him in the first Smash Bros. Game, and we just had a lot of fun, but again, it was like, you know, a little competition because we want to be better than one another, but it was never, you know, the competitions you know and love today. So when Super Smash Bros. Melee came out, the game was so fresh and so new, and I actually got overwhelmed by Samus at the very beginning. I didn't actually know how to use her, so I opted for a character like Bowser, but after a very bad Metal Pichu experience in Classic mode, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna go back to the character that I love. I'm gonna go back to the character that I think really fits me, and that was Samus. You know, I started in 2005 competitively, so I had 4 years of playing it casually, but those casual times is actually, it's kind of shaped why I played the game the way I do. Like, I didn't use a C-stick because in one player mode, in training mode and in classic and adventure mode, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, you couldn't use the C-stick, so I ended up learning how to play without using the C-stick. And a big thing for me was Melee actually had a name system. You could have a name with 4 letters in it, so I'm like, okay, well I play Samus and my name is Eric, so E for Eric, Sam for Samus, and that is where ESAM came from. In 2005, my brother convinced me to go to my first tournament, and my world changed forever. It has become such a large passion of mine. It was a hobby at first, you know, I wasn't winning a lot of money because at the time, money wasn't really available in the Super Smash Bros. Community, so it was just something fun to do on weekends with friends. It was an incredibly large social thing because I was kind of like the weird nerdy kid at school, but in the gaming community I fit right in. Even though the players were obviously generally cool and older than me, I was still able to fit in as a 12 or 13-year-old with a bunch of these 16 to 19-year-old young adults. With Samus, I was able to make a name for myself as one of the best players in the region. I think I was top 10 in South Florida at the time, and I was really proud that I could do it with the character I loved and enjoyed so much. And even after gaming was a large part of my life, I kept it mostly hidden from my friends at school because I didn't want them to think, oh, you're playing video games like all the time instead of hanging out with us, because video games for me were more fun and I had a large friend group there, so I didn't really feel the need to hang out with my other friends outside of school because I got to see them 5 days a week. I get to see my gaming friends once a week. It kind of made sense. In today's age, gaming is so so readily accepted. Like, yeah, there are some people that are like, oh, you're nerds playing video games, but for the most part, that kind of stigma has died down, and so it's a lot more socially acceptable to play video games, and man, it is going to be amazing for the people getting into it now. And gaming isn't even just relegated to your home. Now you can have, you know, mobile games, you can have handheld devices, you can have, you know, you can be playing with your Nintendo Switch on public transit and someone can come up to you and be like, hey, what game are you playing? Can I play against you? What are your strategies and things like that? So with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it is going to be huge just being able to meet and play with people at any time, and that's kind of like the MO of the Switch, right? Like, it was literally in all of the commercials. It is just going to be so easy to find people to play against, to try your skills against literally anyone that comes up and sees you that has a Nintendo Switch. And obviously if you go to the competitive scene, that's a little bit extra. You know, when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out, unfortunately Samus was one of the weaker characters, and so I didn't really get a chance to play her in tournament, but I always kept her in my pocket. I always played her for fun when I was playing against friends that weren't necessarily my competitive friends. And she was still the character I resonated with in terms of personality the most by a significant amount, so I'm very glad that in Super Smash Bros. For Wii I was finally able to use her after some patches to high results to help me shore up my bad matchups, and it felt really good to me to finally be able to use my character again in a new game, other than when I'm playing Super Smash Bros. Melee, of course, because I've always been a Samus main in that game. But in Super Smash Bros. For You, I was finally glad to be able to have one of my most iconic moments in Smash 4 being the Civil War ally pop-off. I was able to get that with the character I loved, with the character that I felt like defined me the most, even though she is not my best character in the game. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there are over 70 characters between original fighters and Echo fighters. There is guaranteed to be a character for you. 1, based on playstyle, 2, based on personality, 3, based on your childhood, because almost every single person knows at least one character or resonates with one character from all of the Nintendo games, because so many franchises are supported. Nintendo has been a staple gaming company since its inception, and some of the most iconic video game characters are from it, including my favorite, Samus. You know, you think of video game characters and the first few that come to mind are definitely Mario, Link, Sonic, Peach, and things like that, and all of those characters are in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, even my actual competitive main, Pikachu. You know, when fans come up to me and I talk to them about their character choice or their journey in the game, they always say, oh, well, you know, I played this character when I was a kid, and so I was really glad to play it in Smash Bros. Or, oh, this was my favorite game when I was growing up, and so I wanted to play them and commit my time to them even though they're not a great character. Or just, this character felt really good to me when I played Smash Bros. And now they resonate with me, and then I afterwards played a bunch of their games. Like, I know several people that played Xenoblade Chronicles after they picked up Shulk. I know several people that went really hard in playing Pokemon after they picked up like Lucario or Greninja. I know several players that play Mario because it's their favorite gaming franchise and they just love it so much. There are so many connections that players have made with their characters, whether it be in-game, whether it be in their original game, whether it just be their personality in-game, or their smugness, or their innocence, or anything like that about the character. There's always going to be a character for you, regardless of what background you come from. My perspectives of people were broadened so much after I went into the Smash community, because it wasn't just my little subset of friends, it was suddenly people from all types of backgrounds, all types of careers, all types of just everything. There are so many different people in the community, and now if you meet someone with a Nintendo Switch on public transit or out somewhere when you're just playing like between classes, or you know, you're at home and you're playing someone on Wi-Fi, or just you're out in public and you're like, hey, I want to grind some Smash Bros. You can find someone with a Nintendo Switch, you can learn their story, you can become friends, you can be introduced to the community, and honestly, the connections are really what matter in this community. The game is really fun, but to me, it is more so about the people. My name, ESAM, is an homage to my favorite character, to my childhood of watching my father play Super Metroid, to just everything that I am passionate about in terms of Metroid, and I wouldn't want it any other way. You know, like me at heart, like you guys know me as a gamer, but I'm a scientist. I have a bachelor's of science in genetics, so you know, if I were to have a career that wasn't gaming, it would be in the lab studying and researching how life works, and so I'm not the stereotypical gamer. You have people that are athletes, you have people that are bodybuilders, you have people that are chefs, that are singers, that are music producers. There are so many types of people in the Smash Bros community. It is so eclectic, and I love it, and with all the fighters that are in the game, there is guaranteed to be someone for you. Not only can you find a character that you love from your childhood, not only can you find another one based on their playstyle in the game and the ones that you have the most fun and enjoyment with, but now you are able to find connections with real people on the go because of your Nintendo Switch, because of the ability to play it offline LAN. And to me, that just adds another part to the amazing Super Smash Bros community that I have become a part of, that I'm a leader of, and it is something I want to do for as long as I possibly can, because I absolutely love it so much. Between the game being so much fun, between the community having so much love, between just everything about this game and everything about this community has made me who I am today, and I love who I am today, and I owe a lot of that to the Super Smash Bros community. I owe a lot of it to Samus and Pikachu, and I of course owe a lot of it it to Nintendo, who has shaped my life so much because I have been a gamer since I was very little. So thank you, Nintendo, for sponsoring this video, and thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, social media, Panda, and partner stuff is down below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.